We need to talk about updates around the absolutely massive story of the FBI raid of Trump's Mar-a-Lago estate and all the fallout since. Right, so where we last left things, Attorney General Merrick Garland made an unprecedented announcement calling for the search warrant and the inventory of everything that agents seized to be unsealed, saying that the public had a right to see the information. Hours later, Trump posted on social media that he supported the documents being publicized, though notably he and his lawyers could have done so at any time. And then on Friday, those documents were first leaked and then officially unsealed, with the inventory revealing that agents took around 20 boxes of various items from Mar-a-Lago last week, with this reportedly including 11 boxes of classified files. And specifically, they seized 4 sets of files labeled as top secret, 1 that was top secret / sensitive compartmentalized information, 3 classified as secret documents, and 3 that were confidential. While we don't know much about the specific contents of what was taken in all of the 20 boxes, we do know that there was 1 item labeled Info RE President of France, as well as another listed Executive Grant of Clemency RE Roger Jason Stone Jr. Also, the Washington Post reported last Thursday that among other items, the FBI was looking for classified documents about nuclear weapons, though that is just according to sources, and Trump has denied this claim. And while there are still a lot of unknowns here, another crucial piece of information that we did get from the unsealed documents is why the FBI went to Trump's estate and what it's investigating him for. The warrant there showing that the judge who issued it found that there was probable cause to believe that agents would find evidence of 3 separate crimes. The first is a violation of the Espionage Act, which, despite its name, does not just pertain to spying on foreign powers, but also broadly covers unauthorized retention, transmission, and other mishandling of national security information, with each offense of that law carrying a sentence of up to 10 years in prison. The other 2 crimes that Trump is being investigated for do not pertain to national security, with the second being a law that prohibits those in custody of government documents from concealing, destroying, or falsifying them. And there, notably, in addition to each offense of that law being punishable by 3 years in prison, another penalty is that the defendant is barred from holding federal office. Though notably, legal experts say that if Trump was charged under the law, he would likely not actually be blocked from running because of some legal stuff that I'll save that for another video. But finally, the third crime that Trump is being investigated for here is the violation of an obstruction of justice law that carries a sentence of up to 20 years in prison for each violation of destroying or concealing records, quote, with the intent to impede, obstruct, or influence the investigation or proper administration of matters in the jurisdiction of federal departments or agencies. And Trump, for his part, has addressed the whole situation with the classic tactic of throwing literally everything at the wall and seeing what sticks, with his team claiming that this is all politically motivated and the FBI is corrupt, at one point also implying that the FBI planted the evidence, but then turning around and arguing that the evidence they literally just said the FBI had planted had actually just been declassified by Trump, with his aide saying in a statement that he often took documents, including classified documents, to the residence and had a standing order that what he took were deemed to be declassified the moment he removed them. Now, but besides this insanely flawed argument of arguing that Trump automatically declassified these documents by bringing them to Mar-a-Lago, and then also kind of saying the FBI somehow planted those same documents, there's also other holes here. First of all, this is the first time we're hearing of this so-called standing order. And by we, I don't just mean the public, but rather top officials who would have definitely needed to know about it, like Trump's literal national security advisor, John Bolton, who, wouldn't you know it, claimed to have no knowledge of such an order, saying if he were to say something like that, you would have to memorialize that so that people would know it existed. And adding that if Trump had removed records, it would have to be documented what they were, each document, so that people would know what had been declassified. And what's more, also noting that secure facilities for looking at sensitive materials were created at Trump's clubs in Florida and New Jersey, so the documents wouldn't even need to be declassified. Right? And to that point, while it's true that the president does have broad discretion to declassify documents, there is still a formal process, and some kinds of declassifications do indeed require additional approvals from other government officials. But easily the biggest flaw is that the matter of classification is essentially entirely irrelevant to the actual legal matters here. As one report explained, even if it is true that Mr. Trump deemed the files declassified before the end of his presidency, none of the 3 crimes depends on whether the documents are classified. Right? All the laws that Trump is being investigated for, even the Espionage Act, can be applied in ways that center around the handling of the documents and the fact that Trump kept them at Mar-a-Lago so long after his presidency, regardless of classification, which is probably why we've seen so many of Trump's allies and members of the Republican Party opting to run with the narrative that the FBI and DOJ have become politicized and corrupt, with many Republicans stoking skepticism and distrust in the agency, and plenty of top leaders also actively spreading misinformation or making wild claims without any evidence. You got Florida Senator Rick Scott likening the government to the Gestapo, definite sane person Marjorie Taylor Greene releasing a line of merch literally calling the FBI the enemy of the state, Representative Paul Gosar of Arizona even going as far as to tweet, "We must destroy the FBI." But also, on the other side, we have seen a growing number of Republican leaders condemning their colleagues' rhetoric and calling for a more restrained approach, with that possibly because these people fear what could happen and already is happening among Trump's base in response to all of this. How incendiary and violent words and lies can lead to things like January 6th. And I mean, according to reports, in the days after the FBI served the warrant at Mar-a-Lago, there's been an increase in threats against Attorney General Merrick Garland and the FBI. There's also been an increase in reports of Trump supporters taking to TikTok with threats of civil war. And we're already seeing some of this spill over into the real world, where you've got things like over the weekend, a group of armed people gathered outside an FBI office in Phoenix, Arizona to demonstrate against the Mar-a-Lago raid, with many saying they were especially concerned that this group was armed, given the fact that just a few days prior, an armed man tried to storm an FBI office in Cincinnati, Ohio, and engaged in a standoff before being fatally shot. And while the authorities have not said what this man's motives were, it has been reported that he was a Trump supporter who posted about his anger at the raid and documented his attack on Trump's Truth Social, with the Truth Social account believed to be the gunman's posting a call to arms and urging people to be ready for combat following the FBI raid. And reportedly, after the attempted breach of the office, the same account posted, "If you don't hear from me, it is true. I tried attacking the FBI." It's just a lot of really scary, concerning shit happening right now. But that is where we are with the story. For now, we're gonna have to wait to see what happens next.